non-GI cancers. So I would just like to show a case that I had actually, we had recently encountered. She was a 75-year female admitted with us with vomiting, endoscopy. Endoscopy showed localized Leiomyositis plastica. I think the picture's not.
चालू है ना
ये आ नहीं रहा ना.
नहीं एक होगा ना. हाँ ये फर्स्ट वाला
क्या हो रहा है?
ये चालू क्यों नहीं जा रहा?
चालू तो है.
नहीं है, बंद है.
अच्छा. So, a 75-year female was admitted with us for vomiting, and endoscopy showed localized Leiomyositis plastica with gastric outlet obstruction. Biopsy was done and it was negative. It was repeated again and came out to be negative. US guided FNSC was done and it revealed few small clusters and dispersed atypical cells. So we labeled as suspicious because we did not have enough material to prepare for cell block. At the same time, a cytic fluid analysis was done and it came out to be positive for malignant cells. We prepared a cell block out of it. It had adequate material and it showed neoplastic cells. And also, the cell block also showed neoplastic glands. This was sent for IHC and it actually came out to be positive for malignancy and of gastric origin. So this is one of the rare cases where cytology helped us to come to a diagnosis and over histology. Second case was 70-year male investigated for multiple SOL in liver, likely metastatic. USG guided FNA was done. Cytology revealed multiple granulomas and caseous necrosis. And the ancillary investigations, AFP and TB-PCR, both were positive. So a simple test in OPD ruled out malignancy, gave the diagnosis, and the treatment was started. So that is the beauty of cytology. Recently developed technique, but has actually gained more popularity. What is cytology actually? It is study of normal and abnormal cells to determine the cause and nature of disease. It can be either exfoliative, that is shed off cells, or aspiration cytology, that is obtained by needle aspiration. Cytology examines discrete cells while histology examines intact tissues. The beauty of cytology is that it gives rapid diagnosis, it is inexpensive, simple, it is better for evaluating infections, it allows multiple sampling. The sampled area covers a wider surface as compared to surgical biopsies, and it can also supplement frozen sections or can be used solely as the diagnostic modality in resource constrained settings. But the disadvantages are that it may not be able to localize the lesion, it cannot distinguish between pre-invasive and invasive carcinomas. The reactive changes may pose a problem and it may be difficult to distinguish from the dysplastic changes. And typing of tumor sometimes is very difficult. So histology is tissue and diagnosis, while cytology is study of cells. Histology and cytology should not be compared. They are not competitive. They are complementary to each other. The entire GI tract is usually accessible to biopsy due to direct visualization and easy sampling by the endoscopes. Therefore, biopsy is the preferred choice. Cytology comes into play where the scope does not reach directly or the passage is not approachable due to some disease process or the lesion to be studied is away from the GI tract. The various samples that we receive are washings, bile, ascitic fluid, brushings, FNA, and then of course sometimes intraoperative sample as an adjunct to frozen sections, and in resource constrained settings it may be the sole diagnostic modality. Most commonly used techniques for GI diagnosis are brushings and fine needle aspiration. I will be concentrating more on brushings, and so brushings are exfoliated. These are basically abrasive cytology, and it is better than exfoliative because the cells are better preserved in this. The sample collected by the brush is smeared directly on the glass slides, and they are basically fixed or air dried for Pab staining or Giemsa staining. The brush is cut off and can be cut off and fixed in the fixative, and it is used for LBC and cell blocks for further ancillary testing. Brushings in esophagus and stomach are used to assess infections like Candida and herpes, and it can be also used as screening for Barrett's esophagus. But the major role is in pancreatobiliary disease, that is for the assessment of strictures, whether they are benign or malignant, and also for surveillance of primary sclerosing cholangitis. Brush cytology, like any other cytological sample, can diagnose high-grade dysplasias, invasive carcinomas, and metastatic tumors, but it cannot distinguish between high-grade dysplasia and invasive adenocarcinomas. Brushings generally are considered to have low sensitivity than FNACs in detecting malignancy. This could be because the area that is being sampled is difficult to reach by the endoscope, and the pathologist may also be a little cautious in reporting because there is a lot of overlap between reactive samples, regenerative samples, and dysplastic samples. Sensitivity is now greatly increased when cytology is combined with biopsies. Now biopsies, are dynamic endoscopists, they are taking spy-wide biopsies and then combined with ancillary methods like FISH and other molecular methods, which Dr. Anuradha will be telling us all about. So just briefly, the ancillary tests are basically mutational analysis, FISH, and next generation sequencing. So the normal pancreatobiliary epithelium appears to be flat monolayered sheets and of tall columnar cuboidal cells with uniform nuclei, and chromatin is evenly distributed. The main idea of doing brush smears in pancreatobiliary region is to exclude malignancies, and the cytologic criteria for malignancies include three-dimensional clusters, two-cell population, hypercellularity, and all the nuclear features which include nuclear pleomorphism, which is defined as more than fourfold in isonucleosis, and high NC ratio as that the cell occupies more than 50%, the nucleus occupies more than 50% of the cell. Then the presence of cytoplasmic mucin vacuoles, nuclear molding, and neutrophil intimately mixed with cells also may help in point towards malignancy. So this is an article which was published in 2017, a multi-reviewer analysis of 60 cases in which the cytologic predictors of malignancy in bile duct brushings were studied, and they found that necrosis and inflammation was not very significant, and it was present in both inflammatory as well as neoplastic conditions, while 3D clusters and two-cell population and all the nuclear changes, they were associated more with malignant lesions. So it is important to remember that finding of 3 or more characteristics points to neoplastic etiology, and with the presence of each other more characteristics, the chance of neoplasia increases. A constellation of characteristics is more helpful than rather studying only one character. Strict criteria must be used in defining characteristics because there is a lot of overlap between regenerative and neoplastic conditions, and must keep in mind the mimics, and whenever in doubt you must correlate with the clinical history. So the regenerative changes, they look very much similar to the dysplastic conditions, but if we look at them carefully, we can at some point or time if we look at it carefully and correlate clinically, we may help in coming to exclude the possibility of malignancy. So they are basically two-dimensional clusters, and the nuclear enlargement is not so much as that seen in dysplastic conditions. So there are many reporting systems. The reporting systems now have been developed to assess the cytology examination. And for pancreatobiliary region, we were given guidelines by PSC Society in 2014, which has been revised by put some modifications into it by WHO, and now we have the pancreatobiliary cytopathology. These are focusing on classification of tumors from the point of view of a cytopathologist, and the standardized formats are for uniform diagnostic reporting, reproducibility, and for clinically relevant risk stratification. So for this, they are divided. The WHO has separated the diagnostic categories for separate categories for cytology and separate for the bile duct brushings. Here, the difference is that even in the biliary cytologic diagnostic categories, the benign lesions also carry a high risk of malignancy, around 26 to 55%. So the next most commonly done test is fine needle aspiration, which will be discussed generally by Dr. Anuradha. So I'll just skip the slides. The aspiration could be direct or guided, and the indications are enlarged regional lymph nodes and submucosal and serosal lesions. We have to be aware of the luminal contaminants which actually interfere with our diagnosis. So just the last slide. The cytology is easy, quick, cheap and effective diagnostic modality. Sampling is less risky to the patient and less chance of needle seedling is seen with cytology. It is an adjunct to histology and not competitive to it. Requires good communication with clinician and correlation with other diagnostic tests for best results. Pathologists should follow standardized terminologies and guidelines for reporting so that the clinicians can plan the proper management. Immense scope for further development and ancillary testing is the requirement for future in the cytology. Thank you.